Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I'm going to be reacting to and analyzing SUPERFRUIT performing Defying Gravity.
Hey,
Hi.
welcome to SUPERFRUIT. It's my birthday, so the whole episode's gonna be about me.
That's not true.
It is.
It's
true.
not happening.
Okay, you can get mad again. I just wonder why you can't stay calm for once instead of flying off the handle.
I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now. I hope you're happy how you hurt your cause forever. I hope you think you're clever.
I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy too. I hope you're proud.
Immediately comparing the two voices, not saying that one is better or one is worse, but just how the different approaches that they took. So the first one playing Galinda, he started with a little bit more chest voice. It was a little bit more thyroarytenoid dominant. And then as he went up to the high note, he narrowed into it and it sounded like something turned over. That's a really normal way of holding onto a sound while you go higher without starting to push a ton of extra chest voice into it. As soon as Elphaba came in though, it was just straight up this cricothyroid, really forward, whiny, not very thyroarytenoid dominant sound. Part of it was because of the range they were singing in, just because he came in a little bit higher, then it automatically placed him in that place. But it's pretty clear the different kind of styles of singing that they're doing with it, where it's just this bigger, chestier sound, and then it's a more free mix ring just from the beginning.
How you would grovel in submission to feed your own ambition. So though I can't imagine how, I hope you're happy right now.
Listen to me. Just say you're sorry. You can still be with the wizard. What you've worked and waited for, you can have all you've ever wanted.
I know. But I don't.
So when he was doing that, it was all falsetto. But if you keep going down, it kind of gets stuck like this sound. And that's why just the very lowest note that he went to, it wasn't quite as ringy as the rest of it, because if you start pulling that sound down, that's the result. So the alternative would just be having a little more chord closure, but for how quiet he was doing that and for the tone that he wanted, I'm sure that he could have added a little bit more voice in and gotten away with it, but I don't think that he wanted to.
Want it? No. I can't want it anymore.
It's a great voice.
Something has changed within me.
Kind of let go for the top, which is fine.
Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game.
Really nice blend back down.
Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and sleep. It's time to try.
Yeah, he has a little connection.
Gravity.
So that's the difference. It's pretty similar notes up there, but he's using a little bit more of this NG sound, that's versus that lighter sound that the other singer was using. So I prefer this because it lets you get louder from it if you start from that little connected place. And the way that you can kind of tell is usually if it's breathy in sound or if it's clear like this, because if you're able to get a very, very clear sound this low, usually you have a little bit of connection. Another way to tell is to see if you can bring that back down to your chest voice through a slide or something like that's probably a little bit more connected if you can connect it back down to your chest voice.
I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down.
Nice. It's a little bit more pushed.
Having delusions of grandeur.
I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost.
time he did flip, you could hear it went from a place of a lot of closure to not very much. So that's what it sounds like when you flip up to the high note. And then he's back together at the bottom. It's a little more connected. And then he connected it back down.
And you can't pull me down. Glinda, come with me. Think of what we could do together. Unlimited. Together we're unlimited. Together we'll be the greatest team there's ever been. Glinda.
She talks exactly like Kristen Chenoweth, though. I mean, like, as soon as you went into that, it's the exact same voice as Kristen. Awesome. Really cool. I know it's a different character, but it's still great.
If we work in tandem,
There's no fight we cannot win. Just you and I, defying gravity.
It just doesn't blend together when one person is a little bit more disconnected than the other. And because Elphaba is very connected and Glinda is disconnected there, Elphaba is going to be heard over it. And so it doesn't need to blend together because, I mean, they're two completely separate characters. But if you're in a choir or something, it's very common for the choir director to more ask for that disconnected sound just because it's easier to blend everything better. I don't prefer it. I don't think it's as easy to use. I think that the more connected sound is easier to use, and it's possible to blend, but you just have to be more careful about your vowels because at that point you just have to match vowels rather than having a little more margin of error if you're just in a flipped falsetto or head voice type configuration, just something with less chord closure.
With you and I, defying gravity. They'll never bring us down. Well, are you coming?
I hope you're happy now that you're choosing this.
You too.
I hope it brings you bliss.
I really hope you get it and you don't live to regret it. I hope you're happy in the end. I hope you're happy, my friend.
Good. And I know that people are gonna go to the comments and beat me up because he's a tenor, he's more of a baritone. I don't care. The way that you sing high is pretty much the same across the board. It's going to be easier for someone who's more of a tenor to sing those higher notes a little bit more connected, and that's being proved. But you're not limited just because you're a baritone or you're a lower voice from singing high notes. The way that you train it, the way that you approach it is the same. It's just going to sound a little bit different because you've got a bigger voice. Not saying that anything's wrong with this. He's just choosing to go into a little bit more of a falsetto sound with it. I bet that he could go into a more connected place, but he's not doing it for this. If I was in a lesson with him, that would be my first goal, is to make sure that he can do this a little bit more connected, just because then he'd have more options with volume. It doesn't take away from what this is and that this sounds good. It's just when we're breaking down voices, it's important to know like what is a choice and what is happening just because you don't know how to do it in a different way. And if it's worth learning how to do it in that different way, if it would help you tell your story a little bit different.
So if you can't find me,
It's completely connected all the way through.
sky, has someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying so low, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying
Love that.
gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring
but he's not pushing into it. He's letting it just be this little whiny sound up at the top and then crying into it all the way through, but he's not pushing. So we don't need to push to get connected. He's proof. You don't need to push to stay connected. You can find this connection and then just hold on to it as you go higher and higher and as you go lower and lower. And that's how you get one sounding voice all the way through your range, rather than like your lower notes sound one way, your middle notes sound a different way, and your high notes sound a completely different way, so that you have like 2 or 3 different voices. Because I think that the main goal from voice lessons is to give you as many notes that sound the same as possible. And he has a lot of notes that sound the same, so he can do a lot with it and have all of that sound like the same character.
She's wicked! Get her!
Nice. So at the very, very end there, he went to the F sharp. He pulled chest voice up to it. That's one of the highest notes that's comfortable to pull chest up to. And then the next one, he went to a G sharp, which is one whole step above, and then he flipped into it. So the difference in pitch is not very different, but the difference in sound quality, the difference in what the tone is, because he chose to let go of his vocal cords there rather than mixing to go all the way through it, the difference is big. I mean, it's this big, big sound. It's a little bit more brassy. It's sometimes tends to be a little bit more strained, but it's more connected, and then it's disconnected. So you can still be an expressive singer if you don't sing technically well. You can be an expressive singer if you've never had voice lessons before. I think that voice lessons can help you because it can help you choose what sounds you're going to use and why you're going to use them, or just focusing more on technical, like why things are working, can help you give you those options. But at the same time, no matter how you're singing, you can be expressive if you're an expressive person. It's a difference. I still enjoyed this performance, even though he didn't have a completely even airflow, even resistance, even vowel. It doesn't matter. You can still be a very expressive performer, and he is. I just prefer the other way because I think it gives you a little bit more versatility. My voice is actually more like the guy who sang Galinda, where my tendency is to pull a ton of weight up, and it's taken so much effort to get any of that out of my voice. So it's really, really hard, but it does give a lot more options. I would highly suggest that if you are someone who can only sing something in one way and it has to be loud or it has to be completely flipped or something like that, that's where it is really valuable to get help from a voice teacher, someone who can help you figure out different ways to make those sounds and then hopefully give you more options when you're actually performing. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. Thank you.